Beep, 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 beep. Jester. Oh, approved. I'm the Jester and I approve this message. How are we all? Right, we've got something new here. Interesting, but new. It's going to be a difficult one to parse this because it's coming from people that we don't like generally. So, you know, it's from, God forbid, Christians. And, you know, right-wingers. Oh no, people who are conservative. Oh no. So, you know, don't wet your knickers, all right? It's worth having a listen to this, I think, because I thought it was quite interesting, full stop. So, yeah. I think we'll give it its day in court because it is worth having a listen to. It's about a new report that's said there's no biological evidence for gender identity. None that it exists whatsoever. No surprise here. Invented in the 1960s by John Money, and they've had to do a study to tell us it doesn't exist. Right. This is from a group of scientists, researchers says. The links are in the Dubras as usual, but here we go. Right, well, the term gender identity has exploded in popularity as a way for transgender individuals to express the feeling of misalignment with their bodies. A group of scientists says there is no empirical evidence for its existence in biology. Right, this is going to upset a minute. According to an international group of over 100 clinicians and researchers, there is currently no biological evidence for gender identity and no laboratory test that can distinguish a trans-identified person from a non-trans-identified person. You know, it's almost like the entire thing's made up. Colour me surprised. Now, you see, the thing is, according to this international group, right, no biological evidence at all and no laboratory test. But however, the belief in gender identity is used as the basis for medically transitioning thousands of children and adolescents. Gay ones mostly. That's what they've done. Kids with autism and ADHD. I want them in jail. Don't you want them in jail? The assumption of the core biological underpinning for gender identity and gender dysphoria remains an unproven theory. While biology likely plays a role in gender nonconformity, i.e. your personality, your character, your traits, the reason I'm quite, you know, wello at times, especially if I've had a G&T, I get all camp. Oh, darling. Right? Which is fine. Be camp, yeah? It remains an unproven theory, however. While biology plays a role in gender nonconformity, as I just mocked, there is no brain, blood, or other objective test that distinguishes a trans identity from a non-trans identified person, other than them saying they are. Right, okay. It's almost religious, isn't it? It's almost religious. The problem is, see, in all these nasty, because you get people like Jack Turban and other QT pretend people, like trans scientists. I jest, right? Scientists trying to prove it. They never ever control for sexuality. So it screws up your figures, all right? But it means they can claim there is such a thing, and there's not, right? So there is no, I'm going to say it again because it's nice, there is no brain, blood, or other objective test that distinguishes a trans-identified from a non-trans-identified person once confounding factors such as sexual orientation are controlled before. This said from the Society for Evidence-Based Gender Medicine, or SEGM, S-E-G-M, worth having a look at. They put it in an article, I'll get links in the Dubras as usual, right? Okay. So the article essentially debunks false and unproven assumptions used to medically transition children. They've been using COD science and nonsense to medically transition children. You know, most of you I'm talking to know this. We've got to get to the people that don't know it and say, do you know that's what they're doing? Do you realise that? They've been doing it. It's like doing it, you know, just for the fun of it. Abracadabra. You know? Like some spell. They're all mad, aren't they? So, one of the myths is that gender identity, which underlies gender dysphoria, is a biological trait, according to the article. There is evidence that roughly 69 to 90% of children who identify as transgender but do not socially or medically transition will no longer identify as transgender in adulthood, and many will grow up to be gay adults. It's not news to us, folks, is it, eh? Not news to us that they've been sterilising and hurting, medicalising gay children. Many will grow up to be gay adults. That's it. 60 to 90%. How is this even happening still? A biologically ingrained gender identity would appear to be in direct conflict with observations where gender dysphoria is resolved either spontaneously or with the help of psychotherapy at a variety of ages. You've got to understand is that with Scotland now going ahead with their trans conversion bill, there'll be no psychotherapy. It will just be affirmation. They'll be able to convert gay and lesbian young people, and they'll have to do it on their say-so, on threat of prison. Jesus, we're in trouble. Brain studies that purport to distinguish objective differences in brains of trans-identified individuals are highly flawed because they confound sexual orientation, which we know is real. The results of the research that has discovered from Cunningham Cunningham has discovered that the results that have attempted to locate, the research that's had attempted to locate a biological basis, are fraught with errors and made sweeping, unsupported by evidence, sweeping claims. The studies usually consist of two varieties. One that involves people with developmental sex disorders, who are often wrongly called intersex, that have nothing to do with gender dysphoria. Some can find the binary nature of sex, and the brain studies of transgender individuals that have been lauded by the media but don't hold up to empirical scrutiny. In other words, there is no proof there at all. It's an interesting article, and it goes into quite some depth, so I would suggest that you read it. It then says, interestingly, gender dysphoria has previously been considered a psychiatric condition until recent years, when activists pushed more and more inclusive definition. You know, looking at the history of that would be really interesting, wouldn't it, folks, don't you think? I wonder exactly who it was that pushing for it. You think it was the young teenage girls with rapid onset gender dysphoria, or do you think it was the older men with a fetish for pair knickers and high heels? Which do you think? Is it A, or is it B? A or B? Activists push for a more inclusive definition that ceases to categorise it as a mental illness to reduce stigma. If you want to cut bits off your body, if you can't accept the reality of who you are, if you want to remove your genitalia and therefore remove one of the most beautiful feelings that a human being can ever feel, you're ill. Just as ill as somebody wants to blind themselves with a pair of Stanley knife razors. You know? No, you're just ill. The term gender identity, to confirm what I've been saying a long time now, was coined by psychologist John Money, best known for a failed sex reassignment experiment on the Reimer twins. Money was an advocate of the blank slate model of human nature, which de-emphasises the importance of biology in favour of social influences, nurture over nature. That's a mistake. His work has largely been discredited. The term gender identity gained popularity in college humanities departments and then made its way into mainstream culture. That's exactly what's happened. Today, the concept is used in school lessons to teach young children that everyone has a gender identity, which is determined based on stereotypes of sex-based preferences and behaviour. Children across the West are now taught that the gender identity can be misaligned with the body and that the body can be altered through puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones and gender-related surgeries to correct the mismatch. Medical and surgical correction of the reality of a human body in order to fit it to a belief system's idea of a gendered soul. Jail. I want them in jail. Go read it. Right? Okay, I think you'll find it interesting. It's certainly, it really, you know, it is by people you wouldn't normally listen to, but it doesn't make them wrong. And we say this all the time, strange bedfellows. There's a guy here called Leo Sapir, which is what a great name. Leo Sapir. Manhattan Institute fellow who says that the motivation for attempting to prove that gender identity is an innate, immutable trait is for political and legal reasons, you bet. After 2015, when same-sex marriage was legalised nationwide, civil rights and gay rights organisations that may have otherwise had to shutter the doors pivoted to championing trans rights. That's what they did. It was shut up shop because you've done your job, which is exactly what you should have done. Or where's the next money coming from? And then what they did was simply force team it with everything else. So, you know, it was the same as the civil rights movement. It was the same as the gay movement. Read the Denton's document. I'll try and find that and put it in the links again for those of you that haven't read it, because that's the template. That's where it all came from. That's where it all came from. But Seg-Em are on it. You know, this is good stuff. So it's being reported here by right-wing, Daily Wire, which you won't like, right? But go and have a look. If you don't like that, go and have a look and see what Seg-Em are up to. Take the wins where you can, people. We're going to need to. But nevertheless, this is a grand move forward with that number of scientists, 100, saying that it's just cobblers, which of course we've done all the time. Anyway, that's it for today. Go do things. All right? Well, I go do things. I'm going to go and actually play a game. Oh, if you haven't, by the way, watch the menu. It gets it. I'll see you later. Bye, folks.